Hello everybody! Just after I did that last video, the following day, there was information released on the RLF100. So I'm going to do the video here on Facebook and then download it and upload it to YouTube because I just don't like the quality of the camera on the gaming laptop. I'm going to have to figure out a different solution for that, but really excited. I'm waiting for, hey April, I'm going to wait for a few more people to come in so I don't have to reiterate too much. Excuse me. I'm going to cough into the microphone, but let's see here. This is the one on the PTSD drugs. So what they did was they released their half-year 2020 results, which is what we were expecting. The stock did go down to like 25 cents just before the election. And I think its current, let me see here, is up to 37 cents. It was 33 cents, I think, yesterday. So it's gone up a little bit since this release. But the market is very volatile right now because of the election. I look amazing because it's a filter. My face is all broken out. So I'm like, yeah, I don't do makeup. Filters. Filters great. So yes, I look amazing thanks to Instagram filters. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely don't put on makeup. It'll just sweat right off my face and I'll look like Alice frickin' Cooper. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I've been wiping sweat off of my nose. It's like 85 here today. It was not 85 in Illinois. So what they released, let's see, this was on the 4th. Make sure I got the right one. Because there's one nope, that's the PTSD one. I'm really digging this company because I'm going to give you some more important information after this because this company is going places. I'm not a big filter person, but when I saw my face, I'm like, oh, hell no. And I even have eyelashes too. It's great. But what they did, let's see here. This is the highlights of 2020. And I'm going to copy these over right now so you can... let me paste them on to the chat here. Let me open them up here so that way you guys have these links. Okay, here's the one. This is the one I just shared. See, I'm wiping sweat off my nose again already, and I have the air on. This is the half-year 2020 results of everything with the financials that they have been through with this. The share exchanges, the financing, paying back the creditors, all that stuff. So they've detailed everything from the very beginning of this. This is about the whole history of this clinical trial. This one here is the one I want to talk about. And I'm doing pretty good. So freaking busy. Okay, so this one here is what I want to talk about. It's really long, but you'll be able to click on the link when I get done. So they announced that the Independent Data Monitoring Committee, which is the DMC is what it's called, that's who looks at the interim data to help determine whether or not to continue on with the study, stop the trial, and do all those things. They announced, let's see here, they met yesterday, so they met on election day, Tuesday the 3rd, yes. Because this was posted on the 4th, and voted unanimously that the randomized controlled trial should continue as planned to its full enrollment of 165 patients. And when I pulled up the randomized controlled trial, and you'll have to refer back to the video on the Johns Hopkins tracker on the YouTube video I did on how to weigh credibility, because I show you how to get into there. But they have, right now, it's listed at 144 patients. So they're going to move on to the 165 patients. Specifically, the committee identified no safety concerns. That's freaking awesome because remdesivir causes kidney failure. And we can't give it to patients who are in acute kidney injury, which is a lot of our COVID patients in ICU. And this particular study is targeting ICU patients only, because this is the only drug that we have found any decent amount of changes. So they're looking at outcomes of mortality, ICU admission, hospitalization, the clinical improvement score, any. pneumonia or ARDS, non-invasive ventilation, which is BiPAP, invasive mechanical ventilation, which is the tube, or ECMO, which is where we take the blood outside of the body and oxygenate it so we can give the heart and lungs a break. They're looking also, let's see, fever, adverse events, serious adverse events, the C-reactive protein, that's one, ferritin. Those are two of the ones that we find with the blood work that skyrocket with the inflammatory markers with COVID. So they're looking at any changes in those markers. The PF ratio, which is, for those not in respiratory, it is, wish this thing would quit sliding over. I'm not trying to look at that. The PF ratio is the measurement of the oxygen in the blood compared to the FiO2 that we're giving you. And we don't want a low PF ratio. That's like really, really severe if it's too low, because if we're giving you 100% oxygen and you're a partial pressure of oxygen in your blood is only like 80, that's really freaking bad. We want it sky high so we can start weaning off that oxygen. So they're looking at all those outcomes, looking at X-ray findings and hypoxia, which is lack of oxygen. Thank you, Kelly. So they are doing this in a randomized quadruple blind study, and that is what we want. The quadruple blind is the best because there's 4 blindings. It's not just a double blind. And like I said, you'll have to refer back. I don't want to reiterate too much stuff, but just refer back to How to Weigh the Credibility video. And God, my hair, I can't wait till it just decides to go back to the way it used to be. So this is really good news, and we've been waiting for this. Let's see, they identified no safety concerns and viewed the study as capable of reaching its pre-specified endpoint and potentially proving that RLF100 is superior to placebo. So they're only doing the RLF100 or a placebo, which is like a sugar pill type thing. Like, you know, it's just it's not the actual drug. And God dang it, my hair. Oh. See, so it was just trying to scroll through this. So the review by the independent review board was based on data from 102 patients who have completed 28 days or more of observation. All patients were hospitalized in intensive care units with respiratory failure, treated by mechanical ventilation, non-invasive or high-flow nasal oxygen. So far, 133 patients have been treated in this protocol. At current rates of enrollment, which may change as infection rates change, the study is expected to complete enrollment by mid-December and yield top-line data in January of 2021. We'll be in full swing with COVID by this time, so hopefully, I really hope that this gets released sooner, because we really need this fucking drug in El Paso right now. We have almost 200 ventilators running. It's bad, and this is the patient population that we're looking to target. Although the study remains blinded, the randomized data overall show that there have been no drug-related serious adverse events to date. Similarly, no drug-related adverse events were seen in either the open-label study of the ongoing expanded access protocol. In contrast to other recently reported trials, the RLF100 Phase 2B of 3 trial focuses on patients with critical COVID-19 who already require ICU care for respiratory failure. Currently, there is no approved drug that has shown efficacy in this population, and that is very true. I just don't understand why we're dragging our feet when we threw remdesivir out here and it showed no miraculous, wonderful things, and we still gave it to frickin' everybody, and then we find, oh shit, it really ain't working. So it talks about how it works, and let's see here. Since July, more than 150 patients with critical COVID-19 and respiratory failure have been treated with RLF100 under FDA-approved protocols. Information on the expanded access program. Let me click on that and share that as well, because I have not opened this up. This is the company that is actually doing the drug, the NeuroRx. So it's got all the expanded access information for those of you who are interested. I'm going to have to copy all these over to the YouTube channel, so I'm going to leave these links open. But it talks about, you know, a preprint, what the brief report is, the expanded access program. And because of its lack of toxicity and low cost of manufacture compared to proprietary biologics, this may be uniquely attractive to those focused on global countermeasures against COVID-19. So it's cheap. Especially because what they're doing with this study, when they first trialed this drug, they were giving it by IV. Now we're nebulizing it. We're trying to get it right to the lungs, to coat the lungs directly. And that's a good thing. But yeah, this stock went up 13% overnight with this information. But the freaking media won't talk about it because we're too focused on skewing an election and dividing the country still. I mean, we are obviously completely almost divided right down the damn middle with this election. And honestly, I don't care who wins as long as it's fair. But when you have more registered voters, or more votes than registered voters, there's obviously something wrong here, folks. You can't have that. That's not even possible. So yeah, I want all of this fixed before we even... I don't care who wins as long as it's fair, and it's definitely not fair right now. But when I was doing the research on this NeuroRx company, I came across another news release from the 4th of November. They are also working on a PTSD drug with ketamine to treat the PTSD, because we know that it is working with PTSD patients. MDMA is another trial that is being done by the VA at only one clinic. Michael was supposed to try to get in that, but he had to come home so bad because I was beating on children. But this is a really, I mean, this makes me just want to buy stock in this company more. So the treatment consists of administration of ketamine, a potent NMDA receptor antagonist, to a subject in need, followed by the administration of a pharmaceutical formulation comprising of different dosages of a particular a chemical and an antidepressant or antipsychosis agent. And we know that even a ketamine drips help with pain, with chronic pain. I see a lot of people, they even have a pain clinic, gnat, here in El Paso with a billboard that does ketamine infusions for pain. The inventor, Professor Daniel Javitt, MD, PhD, is co-founder of NeuroRx and was among the first to report the role of NMDA receptor in psychiatric disease. So this is a pretty good company. Definitely they need investors. From what I can tell, I have to see the study results. I mean, I'm looking for numbers. I'm going to have to, let me see if they have it. See, the preprint, brief report. Let's see this report. That's just the abstract. I think that's the one I've already talked about. I really want to see numbers because that's really going to help. Okay, so here's the expanded access program. They're enrolling children ages 12 up to 100 years. Like, everybody is enrolled. The only time they will exclude people from this study is if their blood pressure is really low, an irreversible condition other than COVID with a projected fatal course like cancer, ECMO. So it's kind of interesting that we gave this to a patient on ECMO, got them off ECMO and home, but we're excluding them from this criteria. So a chemo, congestive heart failure, class 3 or 4, cardiogenic shock, or diarrhea for more than 3 days. And that's because it's a peptide that comes in the intestine, I think, is why they would exclude that. Let's see here. So they've expanded this. Remember, before it was only 2 places that were doing this. Now they're doing it at University of California in Irvine, Miller School of Medicine at the University of Miami Medical Center in Florida, University of Louisville in Kentucky, and then Houston Methodist is still enrolled in the trial. So we have 4 hospitals now instead of 2. So it's expanded, which is great. But I'm still not seeing like any numbers from the original or like from the interim. And I really want to see numbers. But if the independent review board said, hey, we don't see any problem with this, then, that's a good sign that we're going in the right direction. But I would really like to see some numbers. But with doing the PTSD drug and getting involved with the ketamine, I mean, I'm really happy with this company, and they are a small company, which is why the funding for these studies is kind of coming from the investors of the stock. Let's see here. About NeuroRx. NeuroRx draws upon more than 100 years of collective drug development experience and is led by former senior executives of Johnson & Johnson, Eli Lilly, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and PPD. So these are all people who left Big Pharma and started this company. Does that tell you anything? In addition to its work on RLF100, NeuroRx has been awarded Breakthrough Therapy Designation and Special Protocol Agreement to develop NRX-101 for the treatment of severe bipolar depression in patients that are also acutely suicidal, and is currently in phase 3 trials. So this is on the PTSD drug for COVID. My husband still insists that I'm bipolar, even though my psychiatrist letter says no, PTSD and PMDD, so I can't wait for court on this one. Fucking idiot. But so they're wanting to use this in the bipolar depression and also in the PTSD group. So this is really an advancement in the therapies that are available for this. And I have a lot of people in a bipolar and PMDD group that talk about this, because in PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, a lot of the symptoms will mimic bipolar or borderline personality or both, which is where I fell into. What happened with me is Michael got back in touch with me in 2015 and was still playing his games of kicking me in and out of his life, which should have been a fucking huge red flag to begin with. But I was having issues with hormones at the time and getting written up every 3rd week of the month for my attitude, because I don't put up with anybody's shit during that time. And I wasn't on hormones. So my former coordinator, Vicky, her and I sat down, and she's like, it really sounds hormonal. So I went and had my tubes tied. I had an endometrial ablation, was still having issues because of Michael's games. I was put on hormones after all the other stuff once I moved over to where my brother lived and I got a new OB. But at the same time, I was dealing with mood problems and other things because of what I was dealing with Michael. So it all got tied in at the same time, but all of my stuff that I've experienced relate back to my early 20s with hormones. But this is a really wonderful, because a ketamine is fairly safe. I didn't like being given it under conscious sedation. It felt like I was on a roller coaster ride drunk that I just wanted to get off of. Not enjoyable for me. But I highly doubt that in these doses it's going to be a sedative like that. Let's see. See, they tried to diagnose me as bipolar with borderline tendencies because they could never figure out why the medications would never work for me. Because it was fucking hormones. That's why. I needed hormone balancing. So I take my Nikon every day. I don't take the off week. I have an extra pack for each 3-month supply that I get in the mail. But that hormone really helps to balance, and when I don't take it, I definitely notice a freaking huge difference. But all these underlying conditions mask everything. So as my therapist and I, because I saw my psychiatrist about 3 times while Michael was inpatient for 6 weeks, because we kept going down. I was on 800 milligrams of Seroquel, and it kept going down, and then he was freaking out. Oh, you have to be on medication because you're fucking crazy. No. I'm sorry, Dr. 82nd Airborne Google advisor, but no. I think my doctor with a psychiatrist degree knows more than you do. So it's very interesting to see this. I'm really happy. So I'm definitely going to be looking at investing in this company. we'll know more in January, but I would pay attention to this stock. It's under RLF, Relief Therapeutics Holding. And like I said, the stock was like way down, and it's kind of been trending back upward because we've been waiting on these releases. But, the only thing, it's in the PR Newswire and Yahoo Finance, but there are no links on, there's Market Watch, but let me just take a look and see if any other media outlets have grabbed a hold of this, because Clinical Trials Arena, there's nothing on any major news network. No CNN, no Fox News, no NBC, no ABC. It's all on medical pages, vaccination pages, biospace.com. So the media is just not reporting this. And they're suppressing this information, which is making it hard to get this stock up, because unless there's people like me out here talking about it, we're not going to know. So when I upload this to YouTube, like I said, this is a private account. Unless you're in this, you're not going to be able to share it, so don't even try. I will attach the YouTube link that I create to it. That will be public to share. And that's because a lot of people don't. There's a lot of people leaving Facebook. I'm going to try to figure out how to use a Parler and a pill.net like Akash uses, because a lot of conservatives are going over to that. And there was great news today. Candace Owens is suing frickin' Zuckerberg and his fact checkers, because come to find out, one of his fact checkers is a person who works for CNN. Imagine that. Imagine that bias. So I know people don't agree with her masking attitudes and all that stuff, but she does have a lot of good points. And I'm happy to see this. So it's going to be very costly, but yeah, this censorship needs to stop. And one of her points was, you're censoring doctors who are out here trying to provide information, and health professionals, because their doctors say that this information isn't true. They're not even out treating patients. A lot of these people are sitting behind a desk just reading shit. So really pay attention. Clinicaltrials.gov is the main website for all the clinical trials, and I just downloaded this. And I think the last time I did this video, when I did the how to weigh the credibility, there were 3,000 trials. Let's see what we're up to now. Oh, come on, go down. Oh my God. Oh boy. Oh yeah, we have tons of shit here. Holy freaking smokers. 4457. That's how many clinical trials, and they're all over the world. Some are closed. I mean, they're all different. But I showed you on that video how to download the spreadsheet and then open it. If you have any questions, just contact me. I left my phone number on the last video, and actually I'll type it in here. You can message me through this page, but sometimes it's easier to catch me by text message. So you can reach me there. I've gotten text messages from a few of you. You guys know I always answer. If I didn't trust you, if I didn't appreciate what you, that you respect my opinion, you wouldn't be on this page. So right now, I'm just going to have to hide out, but encourage people to follow the YouTube channel and like and share the channel, because once I get to a certain amount of subscribers on the YouTube, I can go live through the damn phone instead of doing it through your air pressure reminder from Discount Tire. How about a tire rotation reminder? Thank you. Definitely need to go have that done. I think I've traveled almost 8,000 miles since I changed my oil. I did 5,200 miles in October. I love my car. It's definitely needs a little bit of work right now, though. It needs some TLC. So I definitely I am staying in El Paso. I am going to stay home. I've had a lot of offers. There was a message from Angel Staffing about deployments in Texas, and I just don't want to leave home. My cat is extremely sick. I'm glad I did come home. Ellie has a severe pneumonia. She can't even breathe through her nose. She's mouth breathing. Cats are like babies. They're obligate nose breathers. They don't breathe through their mouth, and she's really congested right now. The doctor at the vet's office taught me how to listen to her lungs, because I'm like, I'm a respiratory therapist, but I have no experience obviously with cats. And I was like, she had a fever. I had to Google, can I give cats Tylenol? No, you cannot. It will shut their kidneys down. You really can't give them anything that isn't prescription from the vet. So don't do that to your cat. They're definitely not little dogs. So you really have to be careful there. But she had like 103.6 fever when I took her in yesterday. Her breathing was getting worse. And obviously as a therapist, I know that that's not okay. So she's on antibiotics. I had them give her an injection yesterday to kind of help to boost everything, because I don't know how long she's been sick. My poor landlord got COVID and she was taking care of the cats, and then she couldn't make it down here. They ran out of food and water. She felt absolutely terrible. I don't blame her. She looked absolutely terrible. She showed me the pictures and video, and I felt absolutely horrible. And the rest of the cats aren't sick. So, geez, oh, Pete, I have too many cords here. So, I'm happy I came home. My Ellie, she's laying on the bathroom floor, but when I got home, her ears were bright red inside. So if her fever was 103.6 yesterday, when I took her in with her ears a normal color, I can only imagine exactly how high it was when I got home. And she wasn't congested at that time, so I wasn't concerned. And I wasn't going to bring her in. And then with the breathing, and she couldn't breathe through her nose, and she's drooling everywhere. And yeah. So he said to look out for any panting if I noticed that, to definitely bring her back. But she's eating and taking in some water, but her lungs are very crackly, just like a pneumonia patient of mine. So I had to flip my stethoscope around to the baby one, and now I'm monitoring the cat at home. So still playing respiratory therapist. I start work on the 16th here. I'm definitely not going to share where I'm going to be at, because the crazy ex-husband who's going to take me down over my dead fucking body. Yeah. So if anything happens to me, I'll know to point fingers at my ex-husband, okay? Because he's lost his ever-loving mind and he's loaded down with weapons. There's nothing he can do to take me down besides take my life. And why did I get married? So this is great news on the Neuro RX. Pay attention to the stock. I'm going to try to scroll through some comments here, because I've not really been paying too much attention. Let's see here. Let's see, expand this. Mute myself so we're not... Okay, here we go. Let's see here. Yeah, the oily face. I just get a sweaty face. Very sweaty face. Okay, so... Yeah, my Ellie, she's doing okay. She was a happy car riding cat, so I know when I travel which cat's going with me. But she's been like laying on me like a sick child, so... Alright, I gotta go help my buddy out with this truck again. When I get done, I'm gonna upload this to YouTube. I gotta remember to save it first. And then I'll get that over to YouTube, and I'm gonna attach all these links that I put in the comments for everybody who watches on YouTube. So y'all have a great day. Just remember, you won't be able to share this video. Anybody who who follows me on my other page, let them know about this one, and either have them send me a request or let me know their name and I'll shoot them one over if I can. Bipolar depression, PTSD, ADHD, anxiety, panic. Yep. It would be very interesting with the ketamine if they get this approved for treatment. It's really shown a lot of promising results in several other trials. So them getting involved with this is just fantastic. I mean, I'm really all for this company. So great news on the RLF100. There is no serious adverse effects or any of that. So good news, guys. Pay attention to the stock, and I would buy low. I am personally going to buy it. Right now would be a good time to do so, because in January, once they release this shit, it's going to skyrocket, and then buying stock at that point in time, you're not really going to make too much money. Buy low. Right now it's in the 30-cent range, and it would be a very good opportunity to do so. So we know in January these study results are going to be released, and it will be done, and we'll know if we can just give this to everybody. And in January is a good time because we're going to be in full swing with cold and flu season. So it's not too late. I just wish we could be using it now here in El Paso. So love you guys. I will see you soon.